everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. For those of you who are big fans, yay! I'll be here for 2 weeks, almost, just about, a little less than. For those of you who hate the program, I hope I grow on you. That's what I'm going to hope. Otherwise, you can just stick around just to listen to AJ. Let's see what we got going on here. We've been talking a lot about Father's Day as Father's Day approaches, just because I don't want you guys to forget it and because it's such an important day. I've looked at some of the elections, the lieutenant governor, the U.S. Senate. I want to talk about the attorney general's race. That was another, we just had some ugly races. And it's so funny because I use that word all the time. It's an ugly race. There were ads and there were people out there on Facebook. I do have to say, this is probably, in terms of the supporters of one candidate going after the supporters of another one online, and then people behind the scenes, really trying to get out there and be ugly, this cycle was the worst in recent memory. And I say that because I generally pay attention to these things. I've covered it through media, whether it's radio or print news or whatever it is. I've been looking at elections in this state for over a decade. This one was just truly just mean. And I wonder if that's what we're going to have to get used to. I wonder if this is going to be the new norm now that we do have more people running that are probably going to vote nearly the same way or seem nearly the same. The Attorney General's race is one that, unlike the other ones that were for people who would need a record for whatever, a voting record, or it would be how would they vote. It was more of a management style, more of an experience style. We had Jay Mitchell versus Catherine Robertson. Catherine won. I truly, truly have zero doubt that the office is going to have and this is what she campaigned on, the smoothest transition from Steve Marshall to Catherine Robertson, just because she's been there. She's been in the thick of things. She's been on the front lines. She was endorsed by the other Republican attorneys generals. I did that wrong, right? Attorneys. It's got a weird plural. But it was really that race in terms of questioning her finance. That was frustrating to me. Okay, first off, I don't know. Aside from, I feel like this is the election cycle where hopefully candidates and consultants learned that attacking somebody on strictly where their money is coming from or not coming from or that sort of thing isn't necessarily what the voters want. I adore Mo Brooks. I think Mo Brooks is incredible. I would have loved to have seen him back in the state house if for no other reason than I like people there. I know. That's a very unpopular opinion with elected officials because they're like, no, he's very Jim Ziegler-ish, where wherever he's going to be going, look what they're doing. This ain't right. And that's kind of why I wanted him, right? But he made his campaign about all of the Montgomery money coming in to support his opponent. And guess what? People didn't vote based on where the money was coming from. We saw that in that House race. We saw that in the Attorney General's race with Jay Mitchell going all in. Oh, look at Catherine's money. You know what we were looking at while he was screaming, look at her money? We were looking at her record. We were listening to her talk. We were watching Steve Marshall, which is a man that I have the utmost respect for, listening to him give his support to her. That's what we were doing. And so that election was kind of weird because, yes, Jay Mitchell does have a record himself from his time on the bench, but that didn't seem to be the overriding message. Catherine Robertson kept her message really positive about what she would do and about her work ethic. And it was fun. It was really, I don't know her well. I know her well enough to talk to her. There had been years between when I'd communicated with her last. But I know her well enough to know that she is a sincere conservative and sincerely wants to carry on what we have seen Steve Marshall do. And Steve Marshall's not just the best attorney general we have here in Alabama. He's the best attorney general I've ever seen. And I've been watching attorneys general in Florida, Alabama, Arizona, other places. He has, and I was critical of Steve Marshall at first because he wasn't available to the press. We would get these press releases that would be very dry about briefs he had signed on to or letters he had signed on to, and I was like, what is he doing besides these letters? Well, I'll tell you what he was doing. He was fighting. He was fighting. He was doing his job so well. And so I watched that election kind of play out. And the one thing that struck me was how highly Catherine spoke about Steve Marshall's office, and I happen to agree. I happen to think that he was such a great did such a great job, especially when it came to protecting our kids from radical ideology. Then talking to Catherine Robertson and talking about her role in the office and what she has done and what she has overseen, I ended up along the way talking to people who worked with her, and it was like happenstance. Like I was doing a story for 1819 and ended up talking to somebody who had personal experience working with her, and they think so highly of her. They respect her. And so I'm really excited going into the general election to watch that campaign play out and I don't even know who's running against her in the general. But to watch that campaign play out and listen to her, she grew into her own. And as an aside, if you weren't following her on social media, she was so real. She literally was showing and talking about wearing out shoes because she was out there at so many events and she was putting so many miles on her shoes. And like me, she wears a lot of heels. And so that was just kind of fun. All right, we've got Regina on the line talking about the elections. Hey there, Regina.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good. I just wanted to say my husband ran and was on one of the city councils here in Jefferson County, and he ran 3 different times. He was on the council for 12 years, and he not one time did he say anything about his opponents.
Yep.
He said that people are not crazy, they're not stupid. They can see for themselves what what the his opponent had done or had not done. But he had an opponent that was bad mouthing him with lies. I mean, what he was saying wasn't even the truth. And he just told him, he said, if you can't run and win on your own merit and your own personality and all, then you don't need to be running. And so he, that's the truth.
Yeah. No, I
And
agree.
pardon me?
As I was going to say, I agree. I think that's a great like way to, and in my mind when I'm watching campaign ads and listen, especially when I'm listening to the candidates themselves talk, if all they're doing is tearing down the other person and not talking about what they're going to do differently, that's a big old red flag for me.
Yes, it's exactly. And Doug Jones is the worst one out there. He has badmouthed Tommy from the very get go, and now that he won his primary, he has just really. I mean, he said some really ugly things last night, and I just I even if I was going to vote for somebody, if they started the bad mouthing and the down, tearing people down, I would change my vote, because if he can't or she can't tell us what they're going to do or what they've done or, what their beliefs are and everything, then I don't want them up there.
Yep. I agree. Great points, Regina. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. You
you.
have a good day.
You too. No, Regina's right. If you are running now, it's one thing to say my opponent, this is their record, right? This is how they voted, or this is what they've done, or we saw some of that where a lot of the incumbents in municipalities got defeated because people were saying I'm going to do things differently. That's a very different thing. But oh, this person takes money from that person, or this person's doing that, or these personal attacks. This person's girlfriend. Hold on, let me see if I can get this Charlie thing right. Wes Allen ran an ad about a raccoon that John Wall's fiance had before she met him. What? That's not a real thing. Give me a break. That doesn't tell me what you're going to do as lieutenant governor. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely silly time is what it is. And so that's not the kind of campaign someone should be running. And I think we saw from Alabama voters those aren't the candidates that they, because it was the ones that went really negative and stayed negative and didn't talk about a vision for Alabama. That's who won this election cycle. I've got a couple more races to recap. That was the Attorney General. I think Jay Mitchell is a great guy. I think he's going to, rebound. We haven't heard or seen the last of him. But hopefully, again, when he comes back, he focuses on what he wants to do, not on the attacks of whoever he runs against or whatever he does. Let's see, we've done U.S. Senate, we've done AG, we did Lieutenant Governor. We'll move on to some state news when we come back. You guys hold tight. It's April Marie filling in for Leland. I'm waiting for some words here. There you go. It's like, what am I listening to? Is that Martina McBride? Who was that?
Winona.
Winona Judd?
Yes.
Winona Judd.
Yes. Did she just go by Winona?
She did.
And then went by later in her career, Winona Judd.
I think, did they go from the Judds to just Winona, like when she split off? And
Right.
Yeah, when her solo.
Didn't her sister become an actress?
She did. Oh, she's a good actress, too.
Yeah.
She was in Double Jeopardy.
I remember. Oh gosh, that was her sister.
Yeah.
I hated that movie.
No way.
I did because it made people believe that there was this, like, they made people believe that you could just do stuff and get away with it because it's Double Jeopardy.
I don't know.
Those 90s movies, man. Or
yeah,
was it 2000 or
Ashley
something like
Judd.
that?
Yep. I loved that movie. What year did that movie come out?
Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, release date 1999. So it was. I graduated high school in May of '99. I was in college when it came out.
Yeah.
No, that was a good movie.
Yeah, because like she got framed for supposedly
Yeah, her
offing her husband, and then he's down in New Orleans, and she goes and actually does it, and it was like, it's Double Jeopardy.
That had oh gosh, I can't even remember it was Tommy Lee Jones was the cop who was trailing
and he
her.
watches her do it. It was like, well, it is. She gets away with it. I'm like,
I don't think she actually offed him. I think does she end up killing him? Now I'm spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the 1999 movie by now, yeah.
I think she did.
I don't.
Hence the reason why it's called Double Jeopardy.
Well, no, she says she's going to. She's like in jail, and I remember the scene like it was yesterday. She's like stirring. She's got kitchen duty, and one of the women, because she heard her son go, "Dad," and she's in jail for killing the dad. And so she starts talking about it, and one of the ladies is like, "When you do everything you got to do to get out of here, you say all your sorries, all your da-da-da-da-das." And she's like, keep talking. She's like stirring. She's like, and when you get out of here, you can shoot them in Times Square, and they can't do anything because you've already served your time.
Yeah, I'm like,
this. And I'm like, huh? Now depending on the crime, they charge you with something else, right?
Right.
Reckless endangerment, having a fire, whatever. But
how come the cop just be like, oh, you faked your death, you go to jail? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would think some kind of that would be a whole thing. But
because didn't he like do that just to like get like
because
access to his son or something like that?
It was like I think he was in crazy debt, and so that he did it to get to walk away from the debt and set her up to think people thought she was getting the insurance. But anyway, that was Winona. That was Ashley Judd, and she was she's a good actress.
Mm-hmm.
So I said earlier, I have like the best kids ever, and I'm knocking on wood here. But one of the things that we do, because we don't have cable television, I despise cable television. I despise the ads, the pharmaceutical ads. If anybody out there can justify how you can like live through cable television and if I have one thing that RFK does that promise he delivers on, I would love for him to go ahead and get rid of those ads because it's ridiculous. I mean, I end up, when we're in a hotel room and the kids will see their ads, they're like, what is that for? Like, why do my kids need to know what PrEP is for? Like, why do they need to know what HIV drugs or STD prevention drugs? And, I
have no problem with that because I'm going to put it like this. I remember when I was a kid, I don't know.
What do you remember commercials?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Well, I remember just as a kid, we used to have to do like sex ed.
Right.
Right. And we talked about diseases and all these other stuff. And
at what grade though?
Oh, it was pretty. I think I was like 5th, 6th grade. Even
you were learning about.
Yep.
Okay, now let me ask you: Did you have a traditional sex ed? So Alabama now has laws. We have laws in terms of what you can teach kids.
And this was like in Texas when I was, like 90s.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and it wasn't something like, we talked about pregnancy. I had a,
so we have abstinence-based. Like, the only way to prevent all of these things that can happen to you is abstinence-based sex ed. But these days, I watch the commercials and I'm like, what in the world? Why are kids, like, you got commercials about topics that these young kids, I can have a conversation, obviously, with my 13-year-old about what some of these things are for and what they need and whatever. but like why does a toddler, why does a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old need to know what some of these drugs are for? I hate it. I despise it. So back to the point of the conversation is we now watch old movies, because when you watch old movies, and you and we did this whole thing, I don't remember what show I was filling in for, but where I was like, tell me what old shows. We watch old movies, we watch old shows, because it doesn't have the woke in it. It doesn't have the crazy in it. I don't have to deal with what are they going to see? What are they going to hear? What is the underlying lesson? The underlying lesson of most old TVs or movies. Now this one, this was a whole different thing, but there's some kind of like lesson to be learned. But these days it's if you want to deport illegals, then you're heartless. If you want to if you don't call somebody by their preferred pronouns, you're mean. Like, even kids shows have this like nonsensical stuff in it. But yes, I hate cable television. It drives me insane. So all we do as a family is we watch primarily old movies, and because I know what they're going to have. They're going to be clean. They're going to be somewhat normal.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot handle the woke
Do you ever
movies.
like go back and watch those movies that I guess you would think they were good back in, when they first came out,
and
then
now
you
you're
watch
like,
them now,
what?
like, what in the world? How did I watch this without cringing?
Okay, I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna be like, what, April Marie? You know what movie really gets on my nerves?
What's that?
The Little Mermaid.
The cartoon?
The Disney movie, The Little Mermaid.
Really?
That hoarding little brat. I'm like, they made a princess out of that girl. She was awful. She was a hoarder. She had no appreciation, zero gratitude, zero respect for her father. Fell in love with the first man she saw just because he was attractive.
She was a teenager.
Gave up everything.
She was a teenager.
I hate that Disney movie.
She was a teenager.
Every other Disney movie has some sort of redeeming quality thing about it. That movie, it irks me to no end.
Well, I mean, okay, but it was a cartoon. Probably written by men, so I mean.
But yes, I much prefer movies. My kids watching them, and I can't handle the cable television. We do it when I took my son.
No, when you say the cable television, because you sound very old when you say that. Are you talking about like HBO?
No, so I'm a cord cutter, right? So we have Netflix and we have Prime and we have whatever, but there's no ads. And so my son and I I actually filled in on my old radio station down in Montgomery last week, and did an overnight there, and took my son with me. And we were watching, it was a cartoon, but it was on the TV. And the ads in between the commercial breaks for a children's movie were insane. And I'm like, we don't need to this is a movie geared for, 5 to 8-year-olds. And you've got all of these crazy STD drugs and all these other all sorts of stuff. And I'm going, what is happening here? All right, we've got the phone line open as I'm ranting and raving about popular culture now. We'll go to the phone lines if you want to talk about Double Jeopardy or any other old movie. We'll also get back into politics maybe a little bit later. You guys hold tight. Father's Day weekend, don't forget. what's great
Oh, God.
only AJ and the like 12 people on the YouTube can see this happening.
I can hear what you're doing, right? Because I can hear the music. They can't hear the music. They just see you like.
That's true.
mouthing the
I look like
words.
I'm miming to the
Yeah.
people watching the YouTube. I should also fix my lipstick when I'm in the next commercial break. Hello to everybody watching the YouTube. If you are not watching the YouTube, Real Talk 99.5 TV, you can see why I never went into television, okay? And I stick to radio, which is I can't help my faces. I have zero poker face. Like, it's non-existent. If someone says something stupid, I have a look. I was talking earlier about bad campaigns and bad campaign things, and I contorted my face in a way nobody should ever see. Like, it happens. And this YouTube channel is it's just full of them. That's where we are. All right, we were talking. Somehow I got onto this whole. We went from Winona Judd to Ashley Judd to the movie Double Jeopardy, and here we are with somebody on the phone line for it. So Dave on the line. Hi, Dave.
Oh, hey, April. Yeah, I watched that movie a couple times in the last couple of months,
Oh wow.
and yeah, it's really a great movie. And she does not kill
Okay,
her
she does not.
ex-husband in the end of the movie. And the lady that was talking to her was in prison where she was an attorney. She's the one that told her. I think it's the Seventh Amendment, and you know, it's means that if you are proven innocent, then, you know, and I can't remember exactly how it's done, but, you know, she's totally innocent, and the person that actually did it, she could have actually killed him, but she didn't do it in the movie.
Yep.
So it's a great movie, it really is. There's another one that everybody needs to watch, and that is Dave. He's a presidential lookalike.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, and that's something that we all need to think about doing, because the United States Congress is going to need us. So go get you a copy of Robert's Book of Rules and Order and start reading it, because you may need to know the format of being in Congress. We need some honest people that want to do the work for the people, not for their pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
And a great person to listen to is Representative Burchett from
Oh, he's
Tennessee.
great. He's so great.
Yeah, he talks about how that they're still lining their pockets. They could care less about us. He uses an example here in the last week. He was talking about that they're still paying something like $400 million a month to the Al-Qaeda, the Somalian bunch, and to be good, so that they can continue stealing from us.
It's insanity.
So, you know, that kind of movie is something that we all need to think about doing. It's not, in the movies, you know, it's just a good example. But I'll be talking to you, April. It's good to hear you.
Well, thanks so much for calling, Dave, and I'm glad you could confirm, because I didn't look it up, that she does not kill him in the end. But yeah, the woman who was talking to her and told her to keep stirring, she was an attorney who was in jail for something else. I forget what that was.
Right, yeah, she killed her.
Wait a minute, which is hold on, Dave. Like it's so funny that she took advice from someone who's an attorney who got themselves in jail.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the
Only
lady
in the
that-
90s.
The attorney, she was in jail for killing her husband.
Right.
Right. So that they
But she got caught.
they can't convict you for something you've already done, though. That was the point. That was
That's
the
it.
takeaway.
That's
She took
the point,
advice
yeah.
from someone who
It's
killed
a very
him.
tricky movie. How the scoundrel ex-husband steals from her, and he goes and buys all kinds of stuff off the insurance money and puts her son into a private school, and that's what she really wants.
That's what
to
it
be.
was. She wanted the son back.
Yeah, I don't know if Tommy Lee Jones got an Academy for that, but he should have. That's another great movie he did.
I mean, he did play a lot of cop roles in the 90s.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did a lot of cop roles.
Yeah, I'm almost as old as he is, so you know.
He played great
You guys have
characters.
a great afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
What was the one with him and Harrison Ford?
Oh, what was the one with him in here? I don't remember.
Oh God.
We're gonna have to end up looking these up. By the way, I did have one of my Homewood PD officers who, by the way, I don't know that people have. Do normal people have favorite police departments? I have favorite police departments. Homewood PD has some great officers. Birmingham PD, their PIO.
Are you trying to get out of a ticket?
No, don't even get me started on that. Their PIO doesn't like return messages and doesn't give you information. Hoover has been great when I have to reach out to them. There are actually good, like, off different departments that are just different level of, get you information when you need it, like help you out. As a reporter, you want that. As a reporter, I'll say Birmingham and has a favorite reporter, and they will give that reporter anything she needs, and everybody can guess who that is. But then will not work with the other reporters, and it's a very odd thing. But I was told that I did have my 10 codes right. And it's so funny the things you memorize, because I memorized my 10 codes and signals when I was 14, 15 years old. That's when I was a police explorer. And, of all of the things you forget, somehow I remember, not all, but most of them, the significant ones, which is very entertaining.
So the movie I was thinking of now, I can't believe because I enjoyed that one and U.S. Marshal, The Fugitive.
Oh, The Fugitive.
Yeah. So he did like The Fugitive, and then he did U.S. Marshal a year before Double Jeopardy came out.
Oh, yeah. The Fugitive was good. That was 1993.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that one. No, movies were just better back then because they were trying to I tell you, the quality of entertainment has gone down so significantly since Hollywood, and it's been a minute, but since Hollywood decided that every episode or every movie needed to have a woke lesson in it or had to fill whatever quotas there are, the quality has just gone down. And the quality of acting has gone down too. Like, I can literally remember all of the, movie stars. It was a whole thing. And now we see more reality stars than movie stars. I went on, have you ever been on Cameo, where you can get an actor or an actress? Have you
I'm not going to pay to act like, hey, this is my friend. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so.
But I heard a Cameo,
So what's funny is during COVID, I had one of my daughters, did one for my daughter, and I did one, the guy from The Nanny, I did a message to my then nanny. And so then I did one for my daughter. And so I hadn't thought about it in a while, but then my daughter and I were watching a show and the star was on it. And I was like, do you remember when she sent you a message telling you to do your summer reading? And I pulled it up. Well, then she was like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Now that she's older, because that was when my daughter was 6 or 7. And so we pull up the site. It's all reality stars. It's all people who've been on, and I didn't realize so many of them did 2 and 3 and 4 reality shows. But like, if you were to look at the top stars, you can click them, and they're not movie stars. They're not TV stars. They're all these reality and YouTubers and whatever. And it's just, we've changed. The way we are entertained has changed so much. Not for you guys though. You're over here listening to talk radio, which I love that about you. Okay. Let's see. We've talked a little bit about the election cycle. My plan, if you weren't listening when I started today's program, is to have on over the next week and a half is to have on some of these candidates who are going on to the general election. I may even have someone who didn't advance, but to have these candidates who are going on into the general elections. And so I've already spoken to a couple, and then have a couple guests in. I mean, even if it's just one, I love having people in studio. And so I know John Wall will come in. I invited John. Last time he came and did an interview with me, his fiance sat in the car. And she was like on a call when he came up, and then she just sat there the whole time. So I told her she had to come up because she would be our second lady. And I hadn't even thought about that until Andrew Sorrell mentioned it when he was announcing John at the election night party. So that'll be fun. So we'll have him on. We'll have some different candidates on. I'll seek to get a couple other people here in studio with me just because I enjoy it.
Just real quick, because I know we probably get ready for break, but I just want to say Team USA beat Australia 2-0.
Woohoo! There you go. You know what? Oh, you know what we have to talk about? We have to talk about Freddie. Are you following any of these people who have come to the U.S. for?
I've seen. I haven't followed them on social media, but I've heard clips. Matter of fact, just watching the TV screen right now, they were talking about how Europeans are just ecstatic about ranch.
Oh, yes,
And I'm
you
sitting here
can't
just
take
thinking
them
to
on a
myself,
plane.
you know, we take things for granted here. You
We
know,
do.
ranch and ketchup and honey mustard and all this other stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, they don't have ranch in Europe?
They going crazy for ranch.
Yeah.
So much so that TSA had to put out a notice like you can't bring ranch on your carry-on. And then they were telling people in line this, and the people started chugging
Oh.
the ranch.
Oh.
There is a TSA like disclaimer: don't chug your ranch. They can check it to your next destination because Europeans were chugging ranch dressing. I love this. Okay, I will say, and we'll talk about this on the flip side. I'm glad you brought up that game. I am in. Oh, there it is. European mind getting blown by ranch. That's hysterical. I will say that I love people coming here and reminding us how great our country is. I feel like, especially in media, I watch so many angry liberals that we lose sight of how great things are. I'm constantly saying we are a nation where the American dream it can still be a reality and is a reality. And having Europeans come here and just thoroughly just enjoy the hospitality, enjoy the people and the kindness, especially those who have come to the South. That's been so great. So we're gonna talk about Freddie when we come back, but this man is like living the American dream here. Discovered Ella Langley, the country artist who's from just outside of Montgomery, ends up playing her songs, talking about her. She brought him to her concert. He got to hang out with her yesterday. It's a otherworldly. All right, back in a second. You're listening to Leland Live with April Marie. for those watching on the YouTube. Achy breaky heart happening. Lord have mercy. Okay. I can hear the mullet through the song. Like it's right there. I was not watching. I was watching the fight. Did you watch the fight at the White House? I actually watched the UFC fight at the White House, and one of the guys had a mullet. Had a phenomenal mullet. And my daughter goes, "Can one of the boys grow that out?" And I was like, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We will not have any mullets. We will not have any rat tails. I don't care what fashion comes back. That is a hard pass from me." Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Over here talking to myself. But no. Oh, Billy Ray Cyrus. April Marie here filling in for Leland. The phone lines are open 545-9950 if you have any thoughts on Father's Day. You want to share or talk about your father or your incredible husband. What a great father he is.
Sorry about that. I know you was asking me a question.
Oh, no. I thought you were over there talking about mullets. I was.
Oh, no.
I said I can hear the mullet through the song.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. That achy break your heart.
And then I said, did you watch the Ultimate Fight at the White House?
I watched some of it because I was actually stuck in Baton Rouge. So
okay.
I was supposed to be trying to make a flight back this past Sunday, but then with the storms and everything else,
it was a situation.
Yeah. So I sat at the bar I was at
had
in
it
the
on.
hotel, and then we're watching it, and so I just sat and watched it, and it was pretty interesting.
Okay, so I have. My across the street neighbors, my neighbors that live directly, they were outside talking to my kids. My daughter had taken the puppy outside, and I the fight was on, and I put it on, but the kids were still outside, and so I go to the front porch and yell, "Hey guys, come watch the fight." And which is so not like me. It's not something we just do. I grew up. What my dad was used to watch Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, old school wrestling. But we don't just typically watch wrestling in my house. But I had it on, and I realized I was like, that was the most redneck from the front porch thing I had screamed in a minute. Come on, the fight's on, kids, get on in here. So yeah, it was very entertaining. But we watched it. There were some of it. There was some of it that I was like, oh no, kids don't need to hear this. But otherwise, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a good time. All right, so we've talked about the election. We talked about the races. Having guests on, going into just some of the headlines of the day as we get into this last hour, and people are starting to leave. Those who had to work today starting to leave work. Over at 1819 News, one of the stories, kind of the rumors going around, we've all seen the Tommy Tuberville challenges to the ballot challenges. There was talk, and it was just whisper behind the scene, that somebody was going to do something about John Wall's residency. Wes Allen and his consultant have shut that down. They're like, not it, not us. We're not bringing that. And so that's one of those rumors, if you have heard it, that is not done. I had seen somebody put a petition up on social media. Look, if your guy doesn't win, if your preferred candidate does not win, we don't need to be getting petty out there. So there's a story on that this afternoon. Okay. Somehow this case, the murder of Kamari Holland, I did not follow that, and I'm kind of glad I did, because the gut-wrenching details of this case. It was a mother human trafficked her own daughter to a rapist who then murdered the 5-year-old daughter, and the man got the death penalty, as he should, and the mother ended up pleading and got 20 years in jail. I have very strong feelings about what should have happened to the mother, and I much more than 20 years in jail. Let's just say that. But this case, the guy has tried to ask for an expedited sentence for execution, and that was set this week. So on Friday, August 14th, he will be set. I've watched in kind of dismay, I guess, in Alabama, as all of these nonprofits out there are against the death penalty. This is one of those cases where I couldn't even go into the details. I just started looking around at prior 1819 coverage of this case, and my heart and my stomach couldn't take it. Like, this is pure evil. Pure evil. I was so angry that the mother got a plea deal, that woman is not is going to be eligible for parole, that there's a possibility this woman could get out of jail. I was so sickened and ill by this. I can't even I like describe on air how angry that makes me. But this man has asked for an expedited death penalty, and I am all for it. I feel like that if you are on death row and you spend 20, 25 years appealing, and we know this guy, he had videotaped himself harming this child. He had videotaped the whole thing. They knew it was him. These are the cases where it's like open and shut. We shouldn't have to wait years and years and years to do the death penalty, because this is evil. There's no rehabilitation for this person. There's no reason this person should get to live out his life. And as I looked at it, it turns out that he's also accused now. They've reopened a case where he had one of his own children died. Just pure craziness. But that is breaking on this news this week. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we've got Linda Liu on the line. Call in if you have any thoughts on Father's Days or any of the political topics I've talked about. April Murray here, filling in for Leland.